Hey, greetings everyone. I thought I'd take a few minutes to talk a little bit about some container gardening. Even though I have quite a bit of land here on the property, most of it's wooded, and it's really not a lot of sun to put a garden out there. And I did try putting a garden out there for a few years, but unfortunately the wildlife thinks it's their grocery store, so they tend to come up and pretty much destroy or eat everything before I get a chance to get to it. I think if I could plan the design of the animals myself, I'd make them a little bit smarter. Perhaps if they could wait like the rest of us until everything's fully grown, they could take half, I could take half, everybody'd be happy. But the way it is, it's pretty much impossible to grow a garden out here. Last year the squirrels just took and destroyed the tomato plants and shredded them down to mulch on the ground. So pretty much giving up on that, short of getting a greenhouse. But my solution is, since I love tomatoes so much, is to put this container up on my deck. One of a few more I'm going to be putting up here in the next week or so. Basically, this is a store-purchased container. It's plastic, made to look like an oak barrel. It cost me about $32, including tax, in a local nursery here. And what you see for a cage there, that is basically concrete reinforcing mesh. I find these to be excellent for supporting tomatoes. Those little tomato cages you find at Walmart and Lowe's, they're just woefully inadequate. Many times they're way too small, the plants get twice the size, and they just, it's a waste of time and money. This comes in, I believe, 50 or 100-foot rolls, and I just take it and measured about approximate length I need, cut it off with some bolt cutters, and then you can either bend the wires over or use some cable ties to hold them together. But this particular unit I took and put some black Rust-Oleum paint on it just because it's up on the deck. But the ones that are out in the garden, I just left them rust naturally, no big deal. Since I want to go with a lot more containers this year, it gets a little bit expensive to be buying these store-bought things at $32 a piece. And it's to the point where you might just go to the store or the local farmer and buy your tomatoes instead of growing them yourself. It's just not cost effective. So I've come up with another solution that cuts that cost way down, and I'll show you that next. Here we're down the little patio area I have down below the deck, and this is the solution I've come up with for some lower cost containers to grow some vegetables in. Hopefully these are far enough away from the critters that I'll actually be able to reap some tomatoes for my own use. We're talking of course about the white plastic containers, and what they are some recycled barrels from a local soda facility. They're 55-gallon barrels that used to hold the syrup they used to make the soft drinks. And they do sell those to the public, which is awfully nice of them. And the barrels, I paid $10 a piece. And from each $10 barrel, you can basically get yourself 2 containers here, so $5 a piece. It's a lot better than paying $32 for a store-bought, if you don't mind putting up with the white, and I really don't. The other good thing is these are, since they were soda, they're food grade. You don't have to worry about having some harsh chemical in there that might inadvertently poison you. Okay, we're going to take this 55-gallon plastic drum here, and we're going to cut it into 2 different pieces. So what we're going to end up with are 2 different containers we can use to grow vegetables on our patio. As I noted before, this barrel only costs us $10 from the local soda factory, and essentially we'll get 2 containers for $5 a piece. If we were to buy an equivalent container from the lawn and garden store, they're running about $30 right now. So $10 versus $60. You decide. You can probably afford $60, but the point is we're trying to grow vegetables here. We don't want to spend a small fortune just in containers and accessories to grow a few vegetables worth $10 or $20. Let's try to be as cost effective as possible. The first thing we're going to do is scribe a line in here. We're going to make our cut. So let's get down close and I'll show you how I do it. Alright, we're going to mark this barrel to be 17 inches high just because I happen to have this straight edge which is 17 inches long. That'll make life easy. I know the one that we looked at up on the deck is 16 inches high, but inch isn't going to kill us. I'm going to use a Sharpie pen because this will adhere to this plastic pretty easily. And just a quick word on these Sharpies. God bless you people who invented these things. They're absolutely fantastic pens. Been using them for years and I use them every day and absolutely love them. Anyway, we're sitting on a flat piece of concrete here. And all we're going to do is put this on the ground and we're going to mark a few lines every few inches, just enough that we'll be able to follow it with our saw as we go across. There's no real need to have a solid continuous line. Okay, just about there, just about there. Alright, that gives us a nice line. We shouldn't have any problem following with our saw. So let's take this over to a place where we have some more room to work and take the next step. Okay, we have the barrel turned on its side, and it's propped up against this other container in the back so it doesn't move around when we're trying to cut it. First thing we're going to do is drill a hole. All you need to do is pick a size your drill bit that's going to let your saw go down through it. This is the good part here. We're going to have about an inch of wasted space when we mark our other piece here, so we want to drill on the left side of this line. As you can see, that plastic's not very thick. It goes pretty easily. Now we're going to take our jigsaw and we're just going to follow this line until we cut the barrel in half. Here we have our first piece. I have to take a piece of sandpaper, get these burrs off of here, but I can definitely identify what kind of a soft drink was made with this syrup. Alright, we get a piece of sandpaper and I'll be right back. Okay, I just have a piece of scrap sandpaper. We're just going to go around and remove these rough edges. You can almost do it with your finger, but I don't want to cut myself, so. You can see we're able to follow that line pretty closely with our eye without having to continue a solid line. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, that takes care of the worst of it. The next thing we want to do is we want to drill some drainage holes in the bottom. Probably come up about an inch or so, inch and a half. And this is just to allow the water to drain out. If you get a lot of rain or you overwater it too much, you don't have drainage holes, this thing will fill up and you'll have your plants floating in water, which isn't good. I've decided to go with a 1/4 inch drill bit. That should be more than adequate. I'll drill 4 holes. There's actually a seam in the plastic here, so that'll give us a nice starting point. The more even it is, the better it looks, the better the appearance, more professional. Let's put it right about here, and this ought to be good. That'll allow you to have a little bit of water remaining in the bottom. If the roots come down that far, they'll have a constant source of water to drink from. Rotate it about a 1/4 turn. Here's the other side of that seam right here. And one more. Just take the sandpaper, knock those rough edges off a little bit. Okay, the next step is to put some stones, some gravel on the bottom for drainage. Let me get those and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got a bag of stones here that I picked up at Lowe's. As it says, it's in a product recovery bag. Basically what happened is sometimes these bags tear at the store and a couple stones spill out on the pavement there. So they just slap them in these plastic bags and sell them at a huge discount. These bags of stones are typically going for around close to $4, $3.85, something like that. And just because there was a tear in the bag and they repackaged it, I got it for 91 cents. So I picked up 4 bags they had there for less than $4. So basically 4 bags for the price of one. I really don't care if the bag's torn, because it's going to go out of the bag and into this container over here, and I could really care less. You say, oh, it's only, $3, but, well, $3 per bag, actually. Once again, we're trying to do this as low cost as possible, for producing food to eat, so having a container to grow it in that costs, $50 or $100 to grow vegetables worth $20, $30 doesn't make a lot of economic sense. Okay, now I've got the stones in the bottom of the pot for drainage. I'm going to fill it with dirt. What we have over here is a garbage can full of some dirt I just screened. I've been keeping a pile of topsoil and mulch, and I just built a little screening thing out of some wire mesh and some old 2x4s and ran this through it. I'm going to use this to fill the bottom of the pot, and then for the top of the pot we're going to go ahead and put some good old Miracle-Gro in there, because that stuff really does seem to do the plants some justice. Some pretty nice looking stuff. I'd say that's good enough. Okay, this is the Miracle-Gro garden soil. I guess, as you will, I picked this up on sale. You bet. And we're just going to dump what's left in here on top of this. And get some dirt in the face. Set out in the rain, so it got a little bit wetter than it normally is. You can smell the manure in there. Okay, there you have it. Since that soil's so wet on top, I'm probably going to dry out in the sun for a day before we do any planting of the seeds. That way I can smooth it out a little bit. And I'll come back and show you the final project. Just one last note. This is the top half of that barrel we just cut. So, to make them the same size, we'll just go around and basically repeat the same process as before. We'll scribe a line, which will give us a 17-inch high container, and then cut it with the saber saw, and basically repeat the process. I guess if you want to save time, you can just take this barrel and cut it exactly in half. I elected not to do that because I thought it may be too high and just wouldn't look proportional. But if time is of the essence to you, that may be the route you want to go. Before we close this video out, let's just take a quick look at the plants I've already planted. This particular tomato plant I think was put in 2-3 weeks ago. And it's doing pretty good. We're actually at the 21st of May 2013, so we're not even in June yet. We've got some nice buds on there. And it's growing pretty healthily. That Miracle-Gro soil definitely makes a difference. I can show you why later, because the pot I have upstairs on the deck doesn't have Miracle-Gro. It has some other cheap brand in there, and the plant looks anemic compared to this. Here in the middle we have some cucumbers. These were grown from seeds probably 2 weeks ago. So they're coming along really nicely. They're a shrub variety, so they shouldn't be as big. Hopefully they'll fit in that container nicely, maybe just droop over the sides a little bit. Typically in the past, when I got a full-size cucumber plant, I'll use these cages, wire cages, to help them be suspended and produce more fruit. And then over here we have 2 more tomato plants. These were both bought from an Amish lawn and garden place. It's a 4-pack, so they had a little bit of a head start over seeds. Anyway, this is our last pot we have down in the patio at the time. This is the one that's divided in 2. On the one side we have carrots, and on the left side, or on the right side, we have some lettuce. Maybe a little late in the year for lettuce. This is getting hot, but we'll see how we make out here. This is as much an experiment and a project as it is anything else. As far as the new pot we just built tonight, I'm going to put some red beets in there. I packed up a pack of seeds, and I've never grown red beets at all, so I'm curious to see how they come out. I love pickled red beets in my salads. Should be a lot of fun. Alright, hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day, and cheers to all.